steamrolls toward the month of February and the final month of the regular season. So as I welcome in my broadcast partner for the evening, Coach Gibson, to the broadcast, Gibby, it would appear that the Senators are finally starting to get a little bit of health back about them, starting to get back to a full rotation, if you will, although it's still a short one at that, with really 7 guys playing a bulk of the minutes. And last week, as Coach said, no time to cry over spilled milk, because they're starting to get that consistent balance. 2, 3, 4 guys in double figures at a time, but it's the role players that we're looking for now to start really chipping in more ways than just defensively. And so with having that healthy rotation, the question becomes not only can we sustain that progress, but how do you start getting more production, at least on the offensive end, out of guys like Bobby and Chase?
Well, I think it starts with aggression. I thought last week, you know, Bobby played a little bit timid. I think if we're going to get production out of them, and they're never going to be, okay, we're going to score 6, 8 points a game. I just don't see that out of this year. But we could really use 3 or 4 every night from them. Maybe one night Bobby gets 4 or 5, and the other night, Chase gets 3 or 4. They need that kind of production, because those starting 5 can't go the entire game, because you're always going to have some foul trouble or just physically get tired. But yeah, aggression on the offensive side, and keep doing the job what they are good at, which is rebounding the basketball, coming up with steals, which could, turn into layups. So, they've done a really good job all season long at that kind of stuff, rebounding, getting us an offensive board, maybe a putback here and there. But yeah, staying aggressive and maybe looking for your shot a little bit more, especially Bobby. Down at Valley, he missed a couple threes, but they were all good looks. It's not like he's airballing all of them or not. He's got a good shot. So it'd be nice to see Bobby look for a shot a little bit more. And be. I told him today, Bobby, play basketball like you're a 2,000-yard rusher. And he goes, "You want me to run everybody over?" And I was like, "No, just be more aggressive." So we'll see if he's a little bit more aggressive tonight.
And he has settled in, and he's had a lot of open looks, especially from the corner, from deep. But seeing that aggressive side where he can use his speed and quickness on the floor to blow past a guy and try to finish through contact, getting to the rim is something we're looking for him to add to his arsenal here in the late stages of the season. On the flip side of the coin, North Harrison, as I said, comes in on the heels of a big win at home, as they picked up win number 6 against Michael Miller's Lanesville Eagles last Friday night. These two teams very similar, of course, in terms of wins and losses in both of those columns, but Coach Jones, Kevin Jones, that is, brings in perhaps one of the biggest and most experienced lineups that we will see moving forward. The Cougars, of course, are anchored by 6'9" sophomore Langdon L.T. Hatton and 6'5" junior Braden Jenkins, the Twin Towers for the Cougars, and they have a veteran backcourt to boot. 3 seniors that can feed them the rock and push the tempo. So with that in mind, Coach, this is not only just a huge test, I think, for guys like Chase, for Jake, for Harrison, but I think it's also a big test for our guards, because not only are they going to have to be able to control the perimeter defensively, but how much will they factor into helping defend and sag off and offer doubles on the bigs?
Yeah, that'll be an interesting matchup to watch. When they're on offense, what are we going to do defensively to slow those big guys down? Obviously we haven't seen, we've seen the big kid from Shoals, but he got in foul trouble, so he wasn't a huge factor. We really haven't seen 2 guys in the lineup like they have, 6'9" and 6'5". So yeah, it's going to be interesting. How are Jake and Harrison? Are they going to front, or are we going to let it play behind and let the guards dig down on them? So, and last year I was looking back through the stats. They didn't really hurt us a bunch from 3-point line. So if that's what we're thinking, then yeah, you can see those guards dig down. One guy that did hit a few things, I think Harley hit a couple last year against us. So we're going to have to be conscious of him defensively as well if we are going to dig down.
Well, as always, we want to take a moment here, take a timeout during the open here of our Senator Tip-Off pregame show and our countdown to the tip to thank you, the fans, for tuning in to our pregame show coverage here from the Ron Smith Court inside the friendly confines, as well as thank all the great sponsors that make this and every broadcast of Senator basketball possible. Those sponsors include our pregame sponsor, Eddie Gilstrap Motors, just south of the square in Salem. Our halftime report sponsor, McDonald's, home to Coach each Wednesday throughout basketball and football season. And Ace Hardware of Salem, which will bring you our full Senator post-game wrap-up here tonight from the Ron Smith Court. Also want to thank Salem Crossing and Meadowview Healthcare as well for their generous sponsorship all season long here on Salem's 1220. When we come back, we'll be joined by Senator head coach Clayton Sullivan. We'll get his thoughts on the night's clash with the Cougars of North Harrison. But first, we'll take a 60-second timeout, our first of the night, to hear a message from the Indiana High School Athletic Association. Tonight, you're listening to Senator Basketball on WSLM, Salem's 1220 on the AM dial. Back with
Lynx Clothing and Shoes carries a wide variety of items from name brand clothing and shoes to sports apparel and sporting goods. We offer custom screen printing and embroidery, free gift wrapping, alternations, and layaway. Our hours are Monday through Thursday, 9 to 5:30, Friday 9 to 6, and Saturday 9 to 5. We are conveniently located on the north side of the Salem Square and are a family-owned and operated business. Stop by and see us today, 812-883-4154.
Coaching staff. Remember, sportsmanship has a face. Yours. A message from your high school and the Indiana High School Athletic Association.
Welcome back as we continue on with more of this edition of our Senator Tip-Off pregame show and our countdown to the tip, brought to you by Eddie Gilstrap Motors just south of the square in Salem. As tonight the Senators look to wrap up their little 3-game homestand here in the month of January, and they round things out here tonight with the visiting North Harrison Cougars out of the Mid-Southern, coming in with a record of 6-8. Senators setting at 6-9 on the year, and we're joined now by Senator head coach Mr. Clayton Sullivan. Coach, you had a tough one, of course. Heartbreak City for you last week. Come down to what we thought it would, probably the last possession. Coach Gibson and I had talked about it, in the pregame. I thought the boys, for the most part, everybody makes mistakes now and then, but for the most part, I thought they played an outstanding ball game, a very physical ball game. Just give me some of your reflective thoughts.
Yeah, we lost, like you said, in a heartbreaking fashion. But we were really proud of our boys and the way they battled all night long. There's a lot of adversity there, like you said, the physicality of the game, and it got heated at times. And our kids battled through that. We had some guys really chip in. The scoring was really spread out, and that's what we want. That's one of our big goals. But just those little things that continue to creep up on us, talking about free throws and turnovers, kind of bit us there again.
They were indeed the things that seemed to be the real thorns in your side last week. Free throw line costly, but like you said, just some untimely moments as well, and not to point things out, but you mentioned it being heated. We come down and have an and one opportunity and then end up with a technical on our end that gives them an extra possession and free throws. So, those learning experiences, I think, hopefully will become valuable to you. I don't know if you see them that way, but hopefully, like you said in the postgame last week, it's an opportunity to learn. There's no time to really cry over it. No need to pout over it. It's learn and get better, or eventually it's don't and go home, because we're barreling toward the month of March.
Yeah, definitely. With the way things are going, we're playing pretty good basketball. Like you said, those types of things cannot happen. And, we talked with the individual when it happened, and we've talked since then that teams are going to do that to you. You're a young team. Sometimes we get emotional, and teams are going to try and pick and prod at you during the game to see if they can get you riled up to get another technical foul, or put you in a tough situation that you don't want to be a part of. So hopefully with a young team like this, we've learned from our mistake. That's not the whole reason we lost, but again, it doesn't help. That's another point that they had. We lost by one, but that with the continued turnovers and the free throws. Hopefully they're learning that every possession matters, and we've got to value the basketball, and when we go to the free throw line, every free throw is a big one.
Yeah, and I really thought, especially there late in the game, of course, Jake ended up having a nice thing for you with a new career high, but
as far as Holden and Parker are concerned, I thought they did a nice job of really setting the tempo, especially early in that overtime period.
Yeah, they did. They both played well. Parker kind of struggled early on with their physicality. They got really physical with him, and teams are going to do that. He's a young kid, but he's a scorer. So these juniors and seniors are going to do their best to try and rough him up. They're going to run several guys at him. And, he battled through that. It helps when you have other guys to spread the wealth to. And I thought Holden had an excellent game. And like you said, in overtime, they played really well. Just the possession or two short.
Yeah, come down to those clutch free throws that Parker was able to make with under 10 seconds to go, able to break a 70-all tie, and then that set the stage for what ended up being the heartbreaking dagger. The Moore kid, I tell you what, he is absolutely a scorer.
Yeah, we got to give that kid all the credit. We can talk about all the things that we did wrong, but Mitchell did a lot of things right for them to win that ball game. The Moore kid in the fourth quarter and overtime, he was a stud. I'm just going to call it like I see it. We couldn't guard him. He's a very athletic kid. He's got a high release. He attacks the bucket. He can score at all three levels, If that kid wants to in his future, I'm sure he could go play collegiate ball somewhere. So we're going to give Mitchell all the credit that they're due with that win.
Senators fall short 73-72 in overtime here in the friendly confines last Friday night to Mitchell in conference play. But now, Coach, you've had some time. You didn't have a double dip. No Tuesday game this week. So all of that attention, all of that focus put squarely on this North Harrison team coming in. Another PLAC-MSC clash. And this time around, this one's got a little bit different flavor in my opinion because, quite frankly, you have a gigantic lineup that you're going to face here tonight. So talk a little bit about Kevin Jones' personnel that he'll bring in and some of their size.
Yeah, it's like you said, we can't look past it. It's what they are. They're a big team, and they rely heavily on their two post players, talking about the Hatton boy and the Jenkins boy, 14 and 32. Combined, they're scoring over 50% of their points this year, and they really look to feed them the basketball. I mean, the Hatton boy alone's averaging 19 a game. He's big, and he's got some nice moves around the bucket. So we're going to have to be able to combat that. You take that, and then they got a couple shooters that come in, number 20 and then number 24. They can really shoot the basketball, so they can go a little inside out as well.
The nice thing for Kevin Jones, I'm sure, is the fact that when you look down this roster and some of these starters, yeah, he's got a lot of veteran leadership in his backcourt with these three guards. And I'm talking primarily about Gutnick, Wetzel, and Harley. But then he's got a little bit of a sprinkling in of a really good freshman class as well.
He does. He's got a very good freshman class. The Oakley boy plays a lot of minutes. He's 6'7", and he plays a lot on the perimeter as well. He can handle the basketball. He can shoot a little bit. That's just another added size that they got coming in. So at a point in the game, you're probably going to see 6'9", 6'7", and 6'5" all on the court at the same time. And, that's just part of it. We're going to have to be extremely physical and hopefully keep the ball out of the paint.
Well, and I know this is kind of cliche for every game. The rebounding battle is always a big deal, and we've struggled at times keeping opponents off of the glass offensively, giving up second chance points. But I'm sure that has been a major sticking point this week.
It definitely has, because when you look at film and you watch these guys, if the Hatton boy or the Jenkins boy miss, a lot of the times the other one or the same guy will get their own rebound and they'll put it back in. So yeah, boxing out's huge tonight. If we can keep them off the glass, we can box out, hopefully make them go over back a couple times. Hopefully we can get those guys in some foul trouble.
It kind of reminds me of dealing sometimes with younger players, teaching them fundamentally how things should be done. And you go back to camps, you go back to all the little things that you do to teach young guys. And I think that's maybe a lost art, teaching a proper a block out or box out, because a lot of times guys especially, sometimes more so with the guys than the girls, want to depend on their athletic ability, their ability to leap and get up to the rim and snatch that ball off the cylinder. And, it's a simple game. You've got to learn to make contact, and I always use the little saying, you got to put butt to gut and drive a guy out. And sometimes, like I said, that's a real struggle with boys, especially at the high school level.
It is, and we've talked about that. We fall into that at times ourselves. We also talked with the boys if we do that tonight, we will not win. If we want to jump with these kids, they're bigger than us. They're going to get the rebounds. They're going to put them back in, and we're probably going to end up in foul trouble. So we've got to go back to the fundamentals. Like you said, butt in the gut, get our hands up, make them go over our back, limit them to one shot opportunity.
You could probably guess offensively, North Harrison, a team at this size, probably going to pound the paint quite a bit tonight on the offensive end. What specifically scares you about what you've seen from them offensively, and even more so defensively? What will the Cougars offer up?
Offensively, they do a lot of high-low stuff. They do a lot of block-to-block screening. They run that Kansas high-low where they bring the one post to the top and they're looking to feed it down to the other post. So we talked about that. We want to try and take that away from them and make them beat us with their second and third options. And if they can do that, then kudos to them. But, our goal is to take away, what they like to do. Defensively, a lot of film I've seen, they've played some zone, some 2-3, a little 3-2 action. But the majority of the time, they're a man-to-man basketball team. And we need to exploit their weaknesses on defense. And we think that is, putting them in some ball screen situations with the bigs, seeing if they can come out and hedge our guys and see if our guards can attack those bigs.
Obviously, a huge test here tonight for not only Jake Strange, but also Harrison Sanford in the lineup. It'd be interesting to see how they handle this with your defensive game plan going forward. But for me personally, although the bigs have a huge test in front of them, to me, it kind of comes down to like Bob and Chase off the bench and how productive they can be at both ends of the floor.
Yeah, you're exactly right. We're going to need all 7 guys to step up tonight. And especially on the defensive end of things. When Chase comes in, Chase could end up on a 6'9" kid. He's just got to be extremely physical, use his quickness to his advantage. And offensively, if we can get some buckets out of those guys, get out in transition. They're a big team, but they're giving up, almost 62 points a game. So if we can get out in transition, if our bigs can run the floor, a guy like Chase and Harrison and Jake can run the floor, see if we can beat their bigs back and get some easy buckets that way.
Coach, what about the health of the team after a week off, and what's your lineup look like?
We're finally fully healthy. Caden came back last game, and he was very productive for us. So it's nice to have all 7 of our guys ready to go tonight. In terms of the lineup, we're going to have Holden at the 1, Parker at the 2, Caden at the 3, Harrison at the 4, and Jake at the 5.
Senators will try to bounce back from a tough loss here at home last Friday night as they are set to take on the North Harrison Cougars, both teams sitting with 6 wins on the year, battling it out for win number 7. Coach, as always, we appreciate the time. We'll talk to you after the ball game.
All right, thank you.
Coach Sullivan joins us here on our countdown to the tip, brought to you by Eddie Gilstrap Motors, just south of the square in Salem. Stick with us. We'll have more in a moment. You're listening to Senator Basketball tonight on Salem's 1220.
When you're listening to IU Sports, you need to be locked in on WSLM 97.9 FM, your home for IU Sports.
Welcome back once again inside the friendly confines of Dr. T. Kermit Tower Gymnasium. Tonight, the Senators and the Cougars of North Harrison set to get after it and battle it out for win number 7. Each team chasing that mark right now. West Washington at 6-9 on the year. North Harrison comes in with a 6-8 mark. North Harrison 1-5 in conference play in the Mid-Southern, picking up their lone win against the Musketeers of Eastern. West Washington, meanwhile, comes in with a record of 1-3 in the Patoka Lake. Keys to victory tonight brought to you, as always, in the pregame by our pregame sponsor, Eddie Gilstrap Motors, just south of the square in Salem. Here on South Main Street. Number 1 for the Senators tonight, it's going to be those post doubles. You got 6'5", 6'9" in the lineup. They bring a 6'7" freshman who was very instrumental in the JV's double overtime win over the Senators here earlier tonight. So you got 3 bigs. You're going to have to be physical. We're going to have to bring some doubles. You can't just let a guy like Hatton at 6'8", 6'9" turn with his reach and shoot over the top. Secondly, A little cliche, as we talked about in the pregame with Coach Sullivan, rebounding's huge tonight. Going to have to limit those second chance opportunities, and then finally scoring in transition. I feel like if we can get out, like Coach Sullivan mentioned, beat their bigs down the floor, get some buckets, get a guy like Holden going, maybe that opens up some things from the outside as well. And those are our keys to victory, brought to you by Eddie Gilstrap Motors, just south of the square in Salem. Stop in and check out their selection of new and pre-owned vehicle on the lot just south of the square. They are located at 207 South Main Street in town. Stop in to see a sales associate or call them at 812-883-3401. And those are your keys to victory. Series the last 30 years between these two ball clubs has been dominated by North Harrison, leading the series now 22 wins to just 8 for the Senators. North Harrison's won 6 of the last 10 and have 7 of the last 10 have been by a difference of 10 points or less. These two known for going down to the wire, including a double overtime and a 4 overtime game within the last 10 meetings. The last meeting, North Harrison won on their home floor last year back on January 26th over the Senators 57-44. The final in that one, Holden had 11 in that game. Kate Nables with 10, the 2 double-figure scores. A great crowd on hand tonight. Going to have Youth League announced at halftime of the varsity game. A lot of stuff going on. Packed house. Also got the Shastine Family Benefit going on here this evening. A great cheer block, a raucous cheer block, calling out people left and right. Even got a shout from both of them, so should be a fun one here tonight, Coach.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And even you talked about, how close these games have been. Even last year, I think it ended up being 13 points, but it was pretty close there to start the fourth quarter. They got up to a double-digit lead, and I think we fought all the way back and got it down to 1 or 2 possessions. It's a really good ball game. Yeah, and I would expect this one to be pretty, unless we're cold from the outside, because we're going to have to hit some shots from the outside. I expect this one to be a nail-biter, too.
We'll see how the Senators fare here against a monstrous lineup from the Cougars of North Harrison. We'll step aside for the national anthem. Come back and we'll get you set tonight's starting lineups for both clubs after this word from Eddie Gilstrap Motors just south of the square. Inside the friendly confines of Dr. T. Kermit Tower Gymnasium as we get you set for the Cougars and the Senators set to get after it here momentarily. Let's bring you tonight's starting lineups brought to you by Eddie Gilstrap Motors there in Salem on South Main Street. First for the visiting North Harrison Cougars out of the Mid-Southern Conference. 6-8 their record, 1-5 in conference play. Kevin Jones, the head coach. In his 5th year at the helm of the program at North Harrison, he owns a 54-55 record. His team averages 59.2 and gives up 61.9 per game. They will start a veteran backcourt, a 3-guard set of seniors. Number 22, Jake Harley, will start at the point, 5'10" and a senior. He averages 5.5 points and nearly 2 rebounds per game. Dishes out 4 assists as well to lead the team. Number 20, Eli Gutnick, 5'10", and a senior as well, averages 5.5 points, 1 board, and just over 1 assist per ball game as well. Rounding out the backcourt will be number 33, Skylar Wetzel, a 6-foot senior at 6 points, 3 rebounds, and nearly 3 assists per game. So they spread the rock well to the bigs down low. Speaking of which, the Twin Towers, 32 and 14. 32 is Braden Jenkins, a 6'5 junior, averaging just a shade under 12 points per game and 9.5 boards. He's joined by LT Hatton, Langdon Hatton, that is, 6'9 and a sophomore, at 19 points per game to lead the team and 7.5 boards. Also averages 1 block per game. Meanwhile, for the homestanding West Washington Senators, rounding out a 3-game homestand here in the month of January, entering with a 6-9 record, 1-3 in the conference. Clayton Sullivan in his first season, 6-9. His team averages 57.7, and they give up 56.3 per ball game. Come in shooting up at 43% from the floor. Their last game, the heartbreaker, 73-72, the overtime loss to Mitchell last Friday night here on this very floor. They will start a 2-guard set. Number 2, Holden Bousman, 6'1 and a sophomore. He'll be joined in the backcourt by number 11, Caden Abels, 5'9 and a senior. Holden averages 14.1 per game in scoring, 6.2 boards and 5 assists to lead the team. Abels, meanwhile, averages 6.5 per game and nearly 2 boards and 2.5 assists. Still trying to get fully recovered from that sprained ankle. The 3 spot will go to number 12, Parker Green, the point forward, 6'1 and a sophomore, at 16.1 points per game to lead the team. Also averages 5 boards and 3 assists per ball game. Up front, the Senators' version of the Twin Towers, just a little smaller, 24, Harrison Sanford, 6'3 and a junior, and 32, Jake Big Dog Strange, 6'5 and a sophomore. Sanford averages 7.5 points per game and 6.5 boards and just over a block per contest. Jake Strange in the middle, 9.1 points per game, 4 boards, and 1 block as well for the Big Dog. Senators in their home white threads, trimmed in red and blue. Under Armour uniforms with the flying W down the side, blue letters and numerals trimmed in red. The visiting Cougars in the road blue uniforms, the almost electric blue uniforms, trimmed in black and white with black letters and numerals. Tonight's Indiana High School Athletic Association officials are Mr. Jeff Jackson, Gerald Scott, who's the lead official in this crew, and Aaron Miller. Senators, as always, here in the friendly confines, will start out going from left to right on your 1220 AM dial. Hatton at our court with Big Dog Jake Strange. Ball is up and away we go. And Jeff Jackson blows the whistle. He's the back official, and he's going to say jump it up again. Jake actually had won the tip, so we'll jump it up again.
What do they, if it doesn't get to its peak?
I guess so.
Do they do it
But
again?
they had to have been
It was
one
weird
less.
because he was calling it from the back there.
Right. They'll double tip it on this one. Ball ping pongs around, and it comes from Holden back into the hands of Jake Strange, who gives it up to Harrison, back to Holden, and away we go. Senators with the first crack at it. As they send it cross court, Holden in the high post, and Jake takes a bump, count it underneath. No whistle and foul, but Jake has the first points of the night. Big score for him. Senators out to the quick 2-0 advantage.
That's it. That was a really good start. And they're not going to shy away from the tree line in there. They went right at Hatton at 6'9".
Out front with the basketball, Harley has it, sends it now left side to Wetzel, who goes to Hatton. Hatton will bring it out. He likes to float out on the perimeter. We noticed that with a lot of bigs that we seem to face. They like to play outside as much as inside. Feed down low, Wetzel inside to Hatton again, steps through a triple team, fadeaway won't go, and Jake pulls down the defensive rebound to Parker Green. He'll leave it off for Holden, and now he'll walk it across. 1 minute gone by, opening period of play. Glad to have you along with us. Misty Jones alongside of Mark Gibson. Jake, mid-post, works against Hatton, steps through, nice up and under move, takes contact, and we got our first foul of the night. This one will go on Hatton. Nice patience, and that's the first time, Coach and I talked about this week. That's the first time I can remember in a game this year seeing him use a true up and under move and be patient.
That's what I was just getting ready to say, that was the actual true up and under. He went back towards the middle of the lane and then ducked his shoulders, went right back towards the baseline. And like you said, the biggest thing was his patience. And
Jake, what an improved free throw shooter he has been. He went from shooting in the upper 30s, low 40s through the first few ball games. He's bumped that up now to a 67% shooter on the year, 36 of 54 coming into tonight. And he gets 1 of 2 on that trip to make it Jake Strange 3, Cougars nothing here early. 3-0 advantage. LT with it out top. Hatton sends it around now. Wetzel has it. They'll look for a backdoor lob. They try to sky it to Hatton, and he tries to save it inbounds underneath his own basket, and that'll be the first turnover of the night as the Cougars give up the possession. Minute and a half gone by now in the opening frame. The Senators operating with a 3-point advantage, 3-0 early as Parker slips a double, goes in strong, has it partially blocked though underneath from the outstretched arms of Jenkins. Holden steals it right back, lays it off for Parker, this time goes to the left, can't finish, but Harrison there with a nice follow. Harrison with a big offensive board, and the Senators now on a 5-0 advantage.
Yeah, that was a nice job by, it looked like they were going to get a leak out, and Holden got the steal right back.
Wetzel sends it across to Harley, right side, nowhere to go with it. Back to Wetzel out top to Harley. Two-man game of pitch and catch. They go down low to Jenkins, and he'll be called for the little chicken wing as he tried to clear space in mid-post. Gerald Scott with the call, so that'll be a turnover as well. Their third already after the steal from Holden on the last possession for North Harrison. And for Jenkins, he'll pick up his first personal, team foul number 2 already. So North Harrison only beating West Washington where they care to lose, and that is in the turnover department and the foul categories. 2.5 gone by in the opening frame. In the corner, Harrison steps through, works patiently. Nice move against Jenkins, a little up and under flavoring from him as well. And Sanford now with 4 to help pace the attack with Jake, and our bigs dominating right now. It's a 7-0 advantage.
A great start by both Jake and Harrison.
Out front, trying to use some speed to blow by Jake Hartley. Couldn't shake Abel, speedy and shifty on his own. As the Cougars being extremely patient, and I don't understand this. Hatton at 6, they got him billed at 6'9", I think more toward maybe a 6'8" at the best, and Kevin Jones has seen enough. Watching his guys be passive around the perimeter, and he asks them as he come over for the timeout, what are you doing? It's a 30-second timeout for the Cougars. While we have a moment, let's take 10 seconds to pause for station identification. You're listening to the Senators and Cougars tonight on Salem's 1220.
When you're listening to IU Sports, you need to be locked in on WSLM 97.9 FM, your home for IU Sports.
Senators and Cougars coming out of the quick 30-second timeout by Kevin Jones, and it wasn't after the made basket by Sanford. It was once his team got back and settled into the half court. Did not like passive nature there with the rock. With 5:04 to go, he burns the 30-second timeout to bend the ear of his guys, and we'll see what the senior trio of guards can muster on this possession.
Yeah, they didn't have much energy, so we'll see if he lit a fire a little bit.
Really wanting to try to get it to Hatton, who is now in the low block. Probably a little topic during that 30-second timeout, and underneath a block or near block for Jake Strange, but it was actually Wetzel who was able to shake free and score North Harrison's first points of the night. So that ends a 7-0 scoring run to start the ball game. 7-2 here early, coming up on the halfway point of the first quarter. Parker with it, right side, stops, pops, 17-footer, in and out, no good. Rebound pop for, and the Cougars come out of there with it. Pushing in transition was Harley. They tried to feed down low, and Jake pokes it away from Hatton on the post entry into the hands of Parker, and that is already 4 turnovers for the Cougars. Senators yet to give it up. 4:13 and counting first quarter. 2 cutters through the high post. Now a ball screen from Strange. And on the double, Hatton leads the double of Holden. They get it to Strange. Back out now to Abels. In the corner it goes to Sanford. And now they'll reset it out top with Green. Holden gets it. We'll see substitutions. And here come the super subs for Coach Sullivan in this 7-man rotation. 6'1" Chase Farmer, a junior. And 5'9" sophomore Bobby Stevens.
We'll
check in next dead ball.
Here.
Going right back with the double cutter through the high post. They offer the double on Holden on the ball screen. Parker gets it. Back to Harrison. Still can't shake free on that little 2-man game, that little Stockton Malone pull out top. They just cannot shake it free from the double underneath. Nice patience again, and Harrison doing work. Misses the easy bunny, and now they'll push in transition. Will the Cougars as Harley gives it up now on the top of the key, and it is Jenkins whistle for the travel. So substitutions abound here for the West Washington Senators as Jake will get a well-deserved breather, as well as Abel still coming back from that bum ankle. So 5'9" sophomore Bobby Stevens into the game at 2.5 points per game and 2 boards. Chase Farmer in at a point per game and 2.5 boards as a 6'1" junior. Coming up on 3 minutes to play in the opening act. Senators own the 7-2 advantage. First turnover of the night. Pass stolen away into the other end. Hartley uses his speed to score in transition off the window. Make it now 7-4 just like that. Little 4-0 spurt here to try to answer for the Cougars.
Careless pass by Parker. You've got to, if you're going to beat a team, you know, this is really a 50-50 game. You've got to keep those turnovers down.
And Harrison Sanford able this time to connect at the rim. Nice little layup for him. Stops the 4-point spurt. And outburst for the Cougars. Make it now 9-4. Senators have led all the way thus far. 2.5 minutes to go in the quarter. Rise and fire. Shot way off the mark. No good from the high post for Gutnick underneath. Rebound and putback will not go. And the Cougars try again from inside. Holden pulls it down. Leads it to Parker now on the break. Left side will change speed. Tried to go off of the hesitation and now kicks out to Sanford, who will have to reset it out top. Coming up on the 2-minute warning here in this first quarter of play. 9-4. Senators in front. Nice double team. Parker killing it in off the window. Beautiful move and good move in transition as he was able to catch, split the double team, get in the paint, and rise up with a little one-hand floater and take the contact as well.
Boy, he can kind of lull you to sleep. It looks like he's not really, you know, he's about half speed when he's coming around to that double team. Then all of a sudden it's a quick burst to split.
So Gutnick picks up the foul. In the meanwhile, Ben Davis, a 6'1 senior, checks in for the Cougars. And Parker goes to the line for the and one opportunity and comes up dry. He come in to the night 75% on the year, 79 attempts, 59 makes. But dry on that possession, but he gives them an 11-7 advantage. Excuse me, 11-4 advantage as Hatton misses a deep jumper from way above the free throw line, about an 18-footer, would not go. Minute 40 and counting here in the first quarter against Senators, up 11-4 with a 7-point advantage. Their second 7-point lead here in this opening period. Ball deflected in the corner. Green has it. Tries to give it up and does now to Sanford. Comes and gets it right back under a minute and a half to play. Harley trying to almost face guard Holden and denying the ball back. Harrison has it, gets in the high post. Works the hesitation, tries to step through, does, takes contact, and Senators, they're going to give a timeout. It was Harrison who hit the floor and somehow ended up with his own rebound. North Harrison thought they had the tie up, and it's going to be a 30-second timeout called by Coach Sullivan. So a little home cooking for the boys in white. Coach Sullivan has to burn a 30-second timeout to save the possession that somehow ended into the hands of Harrison Sanford, and Coach Jones again bending the ear of the boys in blue from North Harrison. $1:11 to go here in this first quarter.
The officials were just kind of waiting to see if somebody would make a move. I think from our angle it looked like both of them had the ball, but they sure weren't rushing to call jump ball. So I don't know if he did or not. Chase did a nice job. I think he deflected that into Harrison's hands as Harrison was down, where he tripped over Hatton's shin when he, made the first shot attempt. But Chase was there, and Bobby has a deflection already. Chase a rebound. Chase a deflection. Production from our bench.
Box set, left side of the floor, out of the timeout for Coach Sullivan. They'll try to get underneath Jake Strange, and they do as he works against Hatton, who didn't want to give up a second foul. Strange scoring at will against the 6'9" frame of Hatton. Make it now 13-4, largest lead of the quarter thus far for the Senators at 9. Bobby all over Harley out front, forces him to give it up underneath Jenkins, feeds LT, and Hatton has his first two of the night. Again, comes in averaging 19 a game, and it's 13-6, 40 seconds to play.
He keeps getting the ball right there. It's going to be a tough night for us because, he got the ball 4 feet from the basket. There's just not much you can do unless you're going to give up a foul.
Jake and LT, no strangers to one another. They played AAU ball together. They played against each other since elementary youth league. Several MYT tournaments as well. Holden nearly loses the handle. Nice bullet pass underneath. Chase Farmer had his shot blocked. Comes off to Abels to Holden. Long three will not go on the heat check. Ball ping-pongs around again into the hands of Hartley. Puts it in transition off the Hatton, who traveled underneath. No whistle, and he finishes off the glass for 2-4. Make it now 13-8. 3 seconds to go. 2. Holden rises, fires. 3 at the buzzer. In and out, no good. That would have been one well of a way to stop the bleeding here a little bit and to end the first quarter. But the Senators will end the first period of play still up. No harm, no foul. 13-8 after the first stop. Senators lead at 13-8. We'll step aside. We'll take a break. We'll come back with second quarter action right after this.
Temple & Temple has a long history of being a reliable contractor that provides a superior service. Established in 1948, two brothers, Walter Temple and Howard Temple, founded this company with a commitment to quality and a knack for doing that which others couldn't. After being in business for 70 years, Temple & Temple still holds true to the ideals of its founder, providing unique solutions to even the toughest problems. Temple & Temple has found there is no substitute for experience and a tradition of excellent work. Excavating, paving, concrete work, and bridge work are just a few of the categories the company has worked within over the years. No matter what the challenge, Temple & Temple will find the answer for a solution.
2-hour delay today for most schools in the area due to the low temperatures and wind chills. And it was certainly a frigid end to the JV contest for Coach Trueblood's group tonight as they fall in a double overtime thriller. The JV falls to North Harrison 72-64 the final, dropping their record now to 6-9 to match the varsity record underneath. Little up and under move, and just like that, Hatton now with 6 after the slow start. So the Cougars out of the quarter break able to get a score, a much needed score, and makes it now 13-10.
Yeah, I liked it better when he was floating around the perimeter there.
Getting to go back out there. Little matchup 2-3 zone now as we see the big freshman Ethan Oakley at 6'7" check in, and Abels knocks down the triple. So give Abels his first 3 of the night. It's now 16-10 underneath. Hatton double teamed, and Jeff Jackson calls a jump ball after it's ripped out of the hands of Hatton. So we'll see a substitution here as Harrison Sanford will check back in with Parker Green, and Holden will get a quick breather with Farmer.
So Oakley and Davis both in for them.
Yeah, Davis checked in there and played some in the end of the first quarter. Oakley into the ball game as well with Hatton, Jenkins, their biggest line that they've got, and Wetzel out front. Jay Carley also out there momentarily before he has a seat as Harris feeds the corner. Bobby will try to drive baseline, and he'll be whistled for the travel. That's just the second giveaway already for West Washington. 5 turnovers in the first quarter for the Cougars.
Yeah, they're doing a much better job, knock on wood, this week than last. You know, when we start getting up there to 15, 16 turnovers, then it's tough for us to or anybody to win ball games.
6'5", 6'7", 6'9" in the lineup right now for Kevin Jones and the Cougars. Turnaround fadeaway shot, an air ball for Hatton, and on the floor rolling around with the basketball. Gerald Gott finally whistles North Harrison for a travel. It was Davis who went to the deck to pick it up and was rolling around in the process. So we'll have a
contact problem.
Stoppage of play. Looks like a contact maybe for Jenkins. So we'll get a little bit of relief from this huge lineup, but I don't know about that because off the bench comes 34, Chase Johnson, which is a 5'11" senior and a bruiser body. They were talking about him being on the football team.
Fullback,
yep.
If I believe.
So, and if you know anything about North Harrison football, you know what Coach Williamson loves to do. He likes to pound it down your throat with the run attack. And he's certainly a bruiser as the Senators skip one cross court out of bounds. Turnover number 3, 6:17 to go. First half of play, 16-10, your score.
Yeah, Harrison tried to get pass, and even Parker with those long arms couldn't corral it.
Deep 3 for Hatton. He steps out against Strange and shows the range. So just like that, Hatton already with 9. Like I said, the slow start for him, he come in average 19 per game, make it 16-13 on the flare. Abels had it kicked away by the big feet of freshman Ethan Oakley, again at 6'7", playing out there alongside of Hatton. Harrison will look to stay in the matchup 2-3 zone. Little Jim Boeheim action going on here for the Cougars in this second quarter of play. Parker has it in the corner, back to Abels to Stevens out top. Parker running the baseline. They go back to Abels. Thought about a quick three. Gets in the high post. Kicks it cross court. Parker, three. Bang! Got it to go left side. 5 for Parker Green in this first half, and it's 19-13. Back to a 6-point advantage. They'll skip it cross court. Chase Johnson with it. Looks to give it up and does. Cross court to Oakley. The freshman will back it out. He had a big game in the double overtime win here tonight in the JV contest. Hatton out top, looks to go against Strange, spins, high post, maybe drug the pivot foot somehow, got that one to fall through. So Hatton already up to 11 of the team's 15 with 3 minutes gone by here in the second.
Yeah, I think that's twice he's dragged pivot foot a little bit, but they didn't call it, so. But he is starting to warm up with 11 points. We got to do something to do our work before he gets the ball.
Green has it out front, turns the corner on the double team, back out to Abels underneath the string, spins into a double team, can't get the basket to go, but Oakley had come over on the help side, and I think they'll get the freshman with the foul, and they will. They'll get Ethan Oakley for the personal. That'll be his first. Team foul number 4. Sitters yet to commit a personal, knock on wood. See if they can continue this trend as well as the low turnover count. 4:49 to play in the half. Jake steps to the free throw line, and Strange knocks down the first one. And as we see, 33 Skylar Wetzel check out of the ball game. With 23, Ben Davis back into the ball game. Jake Harley, and joining him in the lineup will be Jenkins back in after the contact debacle. Holden Bousman back in for the Senators as the big dog knocks them both down. Jake 2 of 2 on that trip. Give him now 7 in the half. 21-15, back to a 6-point advantage where it's been several times. Holden, immediate steal to the other end against Oakley, blocked it off the backboard. And they're going to count the basket now. Another late call. This one from Aaron Miller across the way. Oakley tried to chase down. It is if the guy beside me says it's not goaltending, but it is if you smack the basket or smack the backboard and it knocks it out of the cylinder. And that's exactly what happened. Holden had the breakaway, so count 2 for Holden, his first 2 of the night.
Second steal.
Check your rule books. 23-15, largest lead of the game. And we'll have a Senator foul out front. This will be the first one of the night, whistled against the boys in white. This will be on Holden, his first. So immediate dividends for Coach Sullivan as Holden comes right back in and gets the little pick 6 to the other end, if you will, before having it smacked off the backboard. The ball was coming off the board toward the rim when the freshman chased it down and smacked the backboard. He thumped it because it was rattling hard.
It was full contact, that's for sure.
Senators matching up on this trip. Hatton will let one fly from 3 and soak another one in the face of the big dog, Jake Strange. 10 and a quarter, 14 already in the half for Hatton. Make it now 23-18. Holden out front, gives it up Abels. Timeout on the floor will be a full timeout this time around for Coach Sullivan with 3:58 to go, just halfway or beyond halfway through this second quarter of play. We'll step aside, we'll take a break, hear a word from the sponsor, and we'll come back with more first half action right after this.
People make the difference. You can feel it the minute you walk into Salem Crossing. Experts in long-term care, not just doing a job, but following a calling. They're here to help you and your family find answers and solutions and peace of mind. In fact, they become an extension of your family. For more information about Salem Crossing, visit ASCSSeniorCare.com or call 812-883-1877. That's 812-883-1877.
Senators already out of the full timeout by Coach Sullivan. Coach Jones still has his crew on the bench in the huddle. I mean to put salt in the wound, Coach Gibson, but the Wolverines and Coach John Beeline making the trip down to Bloomington on this cold Friday night, January. Lead at 58-41 after a stirring hot start in the Simon Scott Assembly Hall tonight in Big Ten play. Although I better keep my mouth shut because I may be eating instead of crow some Jayhawk tomorrow if the kiddies don't play well.
Hoosiers are definitely on a struggle bus right now.
Jake with the turnaround jumper will not go as Hatton clears it, stops, looks to give it up, and Holden shaken up on that play. And he took a shot to the eye, 3 ball off the mark, no good for Gutnick, who just checked back into the ball game during the timeout. 2-on-2 break. Jake takes contact, can't finish off the window, and it's Oakley that pulls it down, so the Bigs lead the break. Hatton stops, pops, couldn't get the three to go, and Parker will pull it down. We've turned this into a track meet now, as Strange gets it, slows it up to Green. Green gets it back from Sanford, 3-ball on the way, bang, got another one, bottom of the barrel for Green. 2 triples in the quarter give him 8.5, and it's now 26-18, back to an 8-point advantage, largest of the half for West Washington. Oakley out front, gives it up out top to Harley, left side, little slip screen, can't get it to Harley, from Harley, back to Oakley. So on the exchange out front, little 3-man weave. Hatton gives it up right side, underneath. Jenkins, turnaround jumper off the window, will go for 2. And now we got a stoppage of play, so Jake Strange can tie his shoe, make it now 26-22, 46 to go in the half.
Big guy's doing some work. Hatton, he had made 2 straight threes. Had a nice look at his third, but Jake did a nice job hustling back from the offensive end and actually got a little piece of it.
Senators rolling right now with Bousman, Abels, Sanford, and Strange, the original starting 5 out front. Oakley at 6'7", picks up Holden, forces him to give it up. Abels changes speed, leaves it off on the baseline to Sanford. Back out to Holden, looks to spin against Oakley, and a kick ball. He tried to cross Oakley over off the spin. 2:27 to go. And it will be Senator basketball underneath with substitution as Skylar Wetzel will check back in. 6-foot senior as 6'7" freshman in Oakley will set down. Senators to get it right side of the floor underneath their own basket. Box set. Holden right back into Parker. Spins. Takes contact. Working against Harley. Couldn't get the basket to go. Harley pushes in transition as he gets it right back. The lob at mid-post to Hatton. On the kick out. Gutnick 3. Way off the mark. No good. Holden will chase it down in the corner. Coming up on the 2-minute warning here in a half. Great crowd on hand. Youth would to be recognized. Winter League players to be recognized at the half. Chuck a duck, half court shot, all kinds of stuff going on here at the half tonight for the Senators. And we'll bring you our Senator halftime report brought to you by McDonald's on South Main Street. The 2 teams head to the locker room. Out front,
Do
struck
something
the
with it.
pivot foot, unforced turnover. Their 4th of the half, and Chase Farmer, the 6'1" junior, will check in and give Jake Strange a breather with 1:47 to play.
Harrison got caught. Do I drive? Do I pass? Do I shoot? And did
Or
nothing.
do I drag my pivot foot?
Did nothing, and usually that's going to happen. Indecision leads to bad things.
Senators stick with a little man-to-man defense here in the half court. Out front with it. Lake gives it up. Out top, 3-ball, way off the mark, no good for Wetzel, and it is Green who pulls the board. He'll bring up the left side, bring it across the timeline, and leave it off for Holden, who comes right side to Abels. Abels goes back, middle of the floor, gets into the paint, able to leave it off underneath, and Harrison
Again,
whistle
travel.
for another travel on the Texas two-step. That's now 5 turnovers, 4 of the 5 coming in this quarter. Oakley, 6'7" freshman, back in for Gutnick, the 5'10" senior guard. Coach Jones not happy with his senior as he sits down and has a word with him. Under 75 seconds to play in half. Out front, Wetzel, right side, works against Bousman. To Hatton on the ball, reversal, left side, it comes to Hartley. Back out top to Wetzel, they swinging around again. Patience on the perimeter, looking for cutters through the paint. Wetzel with it, left side, under a minute to play in the half. Out to Oakley, a little shuffle for him out front again. Parker, and a nice strip by Abels for a moment, as they were able to smart it away from Jenkins and underneath. Thought Farmer had the steal, and it was LT that actually went over his back to try to save it. Hatton tried to save the possession, but they're going to Farmer for the personal. So for Chase, his first, only the second on the team. Little staggered stack on the ball side, right side underneath. So lob it in Hatton. He pushes off against 6'1" Farmer, and underneath misses the spin move, which they say the ball doesn't lie. And that was LT taking one on the chin, missing that little turnaround hook shot off the glass after he got away with the chuck in the back. Sanford saves the possession, left side. Parker with it at top to hold. Coming up on 25 seconds to play in the half. The Senators can hold for 1. 3-man weave out top. Green, Bousman, Abels. Abels controls high in the corner left side. Works middle of the floor against Harley. Dribbles out of trouble. Sullivan barking out what he wants in the set. 10 seconds to go. Parker with it. Takes a high ball screen. Spins back. Lays it off for Sanford. He's going to kick it cross court. Fair. Abel's three. Bingo! Got it to go for three. As time expires, Abel's with the triple, his second of the quarter, and the visitors will race up the stairs on the far side of the floor, and they'll take their largest lead of the half into the locker room, 29-20 here at the halftime break. We'll step aside, start adding up some numbers, and we'll come back to begin our Senator halftime report, brought to you by McDonald's on South Main Street in Salem. Be sure to stop in after the big game tonight and check out one of their many signature sandwiches, including the quarter pounder, the fillet of fish, and the Big Mac, as well as the gold delicious fries.
Second grade girls. Coach Ryan Back, players, Anthony Bath, Kinley Conrad, Addie Knapp, Peyton Salmon, Bristol Cummings, Ellen Sigington, Abby Tucker, Caitlin Richardson, and Jacelyn Irwin. Second grade boys, coached by Matt Eaton, Tucker Bishop, Cash Packwood, Brooks Eaton, Hayden Bowers, Braxton Davis, Owen Woods, Cutter Nice, Nash Watford, Lane Stivers, Michael Curry, Gabriel Lobo, and Abe McCord. Ashley Kersinger.
A disappointing first half for the North Harrison Cougars for sure, as the Cougars are trailers here at halftime.
Fourth grade girls, coached by Jessica Alchin, Julia Alchin, Marley Chase, Chloe Green, Abby Hardy, Carissa Hardy, Izzy Guthrie, Kaylee Bain, and Elizabeth Meredith.
Visit Van Winkle Service Center on Highway 64 in Ramsey, just a half-mile west of North Harrison High School.
Fourth grade boys, coached by Tom Rosenbaum and Dustin Brown, Brady Rosenbaum, Isaiah Dennis, Nash Jacobs, Tristan Brown, Colton Brown, Talon Lewis, Devin Mars, Nolan Long, Jalen Rocker, and Holden Russell. Fourth grade boys, coached by Todd Armstrong, Charlie Armstrong, Jen Tinkersley, Mason Hensley, Jonas Lockmiller, Marty Storms, Adrian Satterfield, and Josiah Perkins. Fifth grade girls, coached by Brittany Powers, Jayla Bass, Elena Schmidt, Lane Cameron, Layla Manship, Ellie Brown, Carly Chapman, Callie Bennett, Kaylee Nice, Elizabeth Oliver, Kaylee Robinson, Maylee Miller, and Meredith. Third grade boy, Charlie O'Toole. Third grade boys, coached by J.R. Jonathan Frazier, Dawson Combs, Keith Sizemore, Wyatt Wallace, John Frazier, Caleb Perkins, Jeremiah Perkins Green, and Brady Cash.
Halftime, 20 days actually, when they played Scottsburg on the road back on January the 5th. Believe it or not, we had the exact same score at halftime. Scottsburg was 29-20.
Amelia O'Toole,
They did not play well.
Belle Farmer, Maggie Morrow,
First half, they did have a run for the second half, but never did
Elizabeth Lingle,
try to avoid that same
Macy Mitchell,
tonight. Again, being on
Riley Davidson,
time against the West Washington State.
Elia Brown, Allison Hardy,
Scoring and shooting numbers here in this first
Lindsay Walker. A round of applause to these young people for working very hard.
Sanford with 6 points at the half in the first quarter of play, and Jake Strange with 7 points at the half, with 5 of his 7 coming in the first quarter. Jake and Harrison doing the heavy lifting with 11 of the team's 13 in the first quarter of play, as the Senators go 3 of 5 on the line in the first half, 60%. You say, that's not a lot. That's not a great percentage, but pretty good whenever you got the fact that you did not allow a visiting team to shoot a single free throw in the first half of play. It was 13-8 after the first quarter of play. Senators led by 5, had a couple of leads of 7 in that first period, and actually got up to a 9-point advantage at 13-4. And then the Senators outscored the Cougars 16-12 in the second quarter and lead at 29-20. That's after, Coach. It's that time. I'm going to start chucking some duck. I'm going to let you take over the stats.
I was going to say, as soon as those ducks started finding the air, I could tell you're like, oh, I got to get some of this. But, okay, shooting percentages, while Coach Jones is, she's a little long on that. Any Senators, again, last couple games have shot the ball pretty well. Inside the arc, 8 of 15 for 57%. Behind the arc, 4 of 6. Abels and Green both had 2 3-pointers. 75%. That's a scorching percentage for a total of 12 of 21 for 57%. Gotta like that. Senators shooting well in the first half. North Harrison shot 7 of 13, just over 50%, 54%. Inside the arc, just 2 of 6 beyond the arc, both of them by Hatton for 33%. So total of 9 of 19 for 47%. So not bad, but the Senators shooting really well. At halftime, North Harrison does own a 1-rebound lead, 11 rebounds to West Washington's 10, so pretty even there. But considering they were 6'9", 6'5", we're holding our own there on the boards, and that was one of Coach Sullivan's pregame points of interest, as you say, or as it were. And the Senators doing a nice job, only giving up 2 offensive boards. Senators have 2 offensive boards themselves, so holding their own inside the paint, rebounding. 7 assists for West Washington, 7 for North Harrison. Holden has 3 of them, and Harley has 2 for North Harrison. 1 steal by Harley for North Harrison. Senators 4 steals, 2 for Bousman. Again, Senators playing pretty well in the first half, as you can tell by a 29-20 lead. Rebounding leaders, Bousman has 3, Dean has 3. So I was going to ask, Coach, if you had a guy you coached, if Hatton continues to get his but nobody else, is it a good thing for the Senators or not?
A lot of times you'll see a coach's philosophy at the high school level be, you know what, sometimes a player's just good and you give credit where credit's due, and you maybe let them get theirs without going totally nuts. Maybe like the Moore kid, sometimes it's those unsung heroes you got to keep in check. And for us last week, Moore ended up with 33, but it was a guy like Bell that come off the bench with 14 that was really the killer.
There you go. There's another guy. If a guy's off for 30, 35, but nobody else in double figures, I think you're usually pretty safe. They had another guy, and especially coming off the bench for 14 was huge. So yeah, I don't see their bench being like Mitch's bench. I don't know. They could prove me wrong, but when we did our work early, I thought we did a good job with Hatton. But when we gets the ball 3 or 4 feet from the basket, yeah, he's going to score, and he had a couple of looks from downtown.
Senators lead at 29-20 here at the halftime break. Both teams made it back out onto the floor from their respective locker rooms for their second half warm-ups. Ryan Batch is off the mark with the first Harrison group shoot tonight. So had one of our elementary kids win the Chuck Duck. I think understood here. I think I've totally got it figured out now. It's not my follow through. It's the fact that I'm letting all of these ducks go out there, and it's creating it's kind of like whenever one loads up a board on cornhole and they kind of block the hole. You got to kind of go over the top.
Absolutely. It's like a minefield. You have to maneuver. That everybody's thrown the ducks, and those ducks, especially Coach Jones is just like last year was probably first team All-State in Chuck-a-Duck. So these ducks, I think people are playing defense against you this year.
I think the strategy is the next home game, as soon as Maddie and Cass lay that tarp down,
you're just going to go ahead and throw them.
Before Claude says anything, just rapid fire.
I
to
don't
the
know if there's a
bullseye.
false start in Chuck and Duck. I'd have to.
See, I was always
That's
worried
deep
about
rule
the
book.
I was
so.
always worried about the shuffleboard effect, getting bumped
Yeah.
off of the
Oh,
spot.
yeah, that's
but I
true.
think that's less to worry about than trying to go over the top.
I think if you ask the Chuck and Duck aficionados out there, that the quicker you can get the ducks to the bullseye, the better.
Senators.
Everybody's like, what are these guys talking about?
Our regular listeners know exactly what we're referring to. 29-20 as both teams get ready to start the second half of play. I'll tell you what, let's pause 10 seconds real quick for station identification.
When you're listening to IU Sports, you need to be locked in on WSLM 97.9 FM, your home for IU Sports.
Whistle blows across the way at midcourt. Gerald Scott gives it up to the Cougars as they will start with possession of the basketball here to begin the third quarter, operating with a 9-point deficit, 29-20 underneath. Jink will not go, and Senators will be on a quick 2-on-2 break as Harrison gets mugged from behind. That will go on Jake Harley, and for him, that'll be his first team foul. One already at Gates. Again, just to recap, Senators only give up 2 fouls in the first half of play and not a single free throw attempt to the Cougars. So, do a nice job digging in defensively. Coach Gibson said, if you can have this and keep everybody else in single digits, probably like your odds here tonight, especially in a low-scoring game. Holden working it in post, gets across court to Abels, back out top to Green. Both teams start the second half with their original starting 5. Holden comes back out top to reset it off to Abels. Dub blows by man, misses off the window, and will have a whistle and second foul of the half on the Cougars. And this one's going to go on Ben Davis off the bench.
Oh, I guess I was marking down I didn't know what it was. It was after the defensive rebound. Okay. It was like,
Abels to the free throw line for 2 attempts, misses the first on
he's
here.
struggled from the line a little bit lately.
Yeah, 15 to 24, making now 15 to 25. And they connect on the second one and rattles out one through. So the Senators, for the first time, did not enjoy a double lead at 30 to 20 here in the third quarter as we run away. Mr. Jones alongside of Coach Mark Gibson. Glad to have you along with us on this cold January night. And a foul underneath.
Oh, who gets that one?
Drive and a foul on the Spurs. Wetzel trying to get to the rack. Only the third foul of the night on West Watson. And Strange will be called for the bump and the personal. So nearly 50 seconds in.
Flying by. I thought they might get him instead.
Nearly 50 seconds into the quarter. Here Miller over to give an explanation to Coach Sullivan. And the Senators able to stay safe. Free throw attempts of the night for the Cougars. Nearly 50 seconds into the third quarter. You heard that right. 30 to 20. Wetzel missed the first. Cashes in on the second. So 1 of 2 on the night for the Cougars. From the stripe back to a 9-point game at 30-21. Harrison looking to lead the break. It was a 3-on-2 momentarily. Holden gets it in the corner. Tries to use his speed. Crosses over against Jake Harley. Beautiful pass out top. Free ball on the way. Will not go left wing for Abels. Cleared off by the Cougars. Harley to Wetzel in transition. Trying to feed to Hatton. They'll go back high. Left side. Jenkins. Elbow jumper won't go. Rebound pop underneath. Davis could not get the finish. And Parker clears it out there off the defensive board. 6:42 and counting in the third. Business starting to pick up a little bit. Nice crossover out front. Parker splits a double team, gives it off now to Abel's far side. Minute and a half into the period. Senators went to the locker room up 9. Still at that advantage as Harris got rejected by the rim. Didn't realize how far underneath the basket he was on the drive shot attempt. 6:20 counting. Jenkins with it back out top. It will go to Harley. He'll reset it for the Cougars.
Yeah, that sounds good. We got to make sure we keep our foot on the gas here. You get that double-digit lead and then you let things, you lose focus. This team's going to come back.
Underneath, nice little spin move as Jake Harley tried to get a turnaround jumper to go. Foul's going to go on Abels, his first team foul, number 2 of the half, only their 4th foul of the entire game. And that'll send Jake Harley to the line. Jake Harley averages 5.6 per game, nearly 2 boards, and leads the team, as I said early in the lineups, with 4 assists per game. And on the year, a 72% free throw shooter, 18 of 25. Missed the first. Second one on the way, trying to follow the pattern that Wetzel gave earlier, so he goes 1 of 2, making now 30-22. Senators up by 8. Full court double nickel pressure here as the Senators able to step through a double team. Beating it up the floor. Abels gets it from Green. Off the Holden, got it poked away from behind. Turnover number 6 for West Washington. Wetzel spins in transition, and he'll be whistled for the travel. So back-to-back turnovers, one for each ball club. North Harrison with 7 turnovers as Coach Sullivan gets a little vocal with these
First
guys.
couple times they've run this press, we've done a nice job. This is the first time that it's not been after a score where they had a little bit more time to set it up.
Parker and
That's
Abel
the
trying
guy.
to get out of the way and clear it out for Holden to try to bring it up against the senior Harley as Abels controls left side now. Tries to use his shifty, nifty moves with the quick feet and the nimble dribble. Did not shake him free, so he'll go again off the screen from Holden. Tries to turn the corner off to Jake on the baseline left side. Back out Abels to Green. Patience on this possession. 2.5 gone by here in the third. Holden splits a double. Floater. Steve Nash style will go as he rattles it home. Holden now with 4 on the night. Make it 32-22, back to a double-digit lead.
And he does a nice job on that floater, especially with his offhand.
Hatton has it way out top. Tried to spin, nothing doing it. So he goes into the post, spins again into a double team. And it was actually Abels who reached in to tie him up, but Abels had his foot on the baseline.
Abels was on the baseline, but that's twice he's dug down. Like we talked about it before the game. Our guard's going to dig down, and he's got 2 deflections already. Well, actually, one was a block because he lost the handle.
How well would our guards be able to dig down on the doubles? As Hatton tries a runner of his own left side, it won't go. Jenkins with the rebound, counted and 1. Foul from behind, and I think they're going to get Harrison trying to block the shot. So Jenkins does work on the window on the offensive end. Check that, they're going to get Parker instead. So he picks up his first of the night, team foul number 3. And Jenkins will go to the line. Brandon Jenkins, 4 points on the night, looking for number 5. Jenkins is a 65% free throw shooter. Left that one well short. Offensive rebound, Hatton, hook shot, count it. Another chance for a 3-point play. This could be a 5-point possession here for the Cougars. And LT now, Langdon Hatton with 16 on the night. Hatton back to the free throw line, and the Cougars struggling. 2 opportunities for old-fashioned 3-point plays as we watch the Senator go back and forth with the guy here from North Harrison at the scorer's bench, keeping stats, arguing whether or not that was an over the back, coming up on the halfway point of the quarter.
I didn't think it was.
Parker right underneath, misses the shot. Coach Sullivan wanted to whistle, didn't get it from Gerald Scott. Harley with it in the backcourt, again harassed by Holden as the Senators try to regroup and settle in to the half-court man-to-man defense. Little nickel look for them in the half-court. Halfway home in this third quarter, Wetzel off the hat, back to Wetzel, around the top it goes, back to Harley. We talked about that with Coach Sullivan in a pregame conversation, and you and I talked about it. Be able to check out, and that's physicality and that butt-gut mentality, and another and 1 opportunity underneath. This time it's Wetzel, who's 1 of 2 on the night. So 3 straight trips, 3 straight trips. Third time for an and 1 opportunity.
Yeah, and like I said, halfway through the quarter, it was 29-20, 9-point lead. It's cut down to 4. I think we kind of took the gas, foot off the gas a little bit. But going to have to come out of it. It's game again.
6 straight points for the Cougars. That free throw in and out, no good for Wetzel. And a tie up on the floor. Ball's going to go out of bounds. Coach Jones wanted a jump ball called. Good effort, though, by Jenkins to get on the deck and go after it for the Cougars. 2:28.
He'll miss free throw at the off, but then throws it away. There's a lot happening in these last
turnover as he threw it out of bounds. So it'll be turnover number 8 then technically for the Cougars here tonight. Just 6 for the Senators as well. Out front, dangerous pass. Bobby Stevens with back into the ball game with Chase Farmer out there with Holden, Parker, and Harrison. Thought about a 3, steps through a double. Nice move, got to the rack, couldn't finish off the window. Jenkins loses the board. Harley quick feet in the front court, gives it up Hatton, back to Harlan, now to Jenkins, demanding it in the post, turn around, General go, and that's 8 straight. Now for the Cougars, and Jenkins has 6, just like that. The lead has been trimmed to 32-30. Nice run here.
Run here for the Cougars.
Nice 8-point burst. Forces the 32nd mount for Coach Sullivan. He'll be left with 2 fouls for the remainder of this one. 3:12 to go here in the third. Keep it right here.
One thing, we talked about rebounding pre. Halftime 11-10. Teams with 2 offensive. This though 7-3 in favor of the Cougars, and 4 of them offensive. So, I mean, that's something we got to get fixed, because if they start dominating the glass, we're going to be in big time trouble.
Remind fans, while Coach Jones still has his Cougars in the huddle, Senators on the JV said things fell in double overtime tonight, 72-64, dropping them to 6-9 on the year. Also, little public service announcement here for the girls side of things. A sectional draw last Sunday. They will be at Edinburgh in sectional 62 starting Tuesday night. They'll play the second game, the nightcap, as they will take on the host Lady Lancers of Edinburgh in a rematch of what was a good game just a couple of weeks ago up at Edinburgh with the boys-girls doubleheader. Kick ball, and it will stay on this end with West Washington. And now it will be inbounded instead of on the side underneath. So 3:01 to go. Senators have it double stacked. One at the ball side block for the 2 reserves. Farmer and Stevens. Stevens will break to the corner. Harrison will slide down wide open on the line. Nice speed as Parker throws up the dime. And Harrison able to flush it into the piggy bank. So give Harrison now on the night 8 points, his first points of the half, and it's 34-30.
Good answer. Needed to stop the bleeding on that possession.
Underneath.
Farmer with
still,
the block.
or off the block, rather, is Parker who gathers it in. Coming up on 2.5 minutes to play. Parker has it in the corner against Pat. As the Cougars have went to a little matchup zone, a little 3-2 look this time around with Jenkins and Hatton on the low blocks. Into the ball game for the Cougars. It's 24, Logan McIntyre, a 6'1 freshman. His first minute of the night, have a whistle, a foul out front. And this one will go on Jake Harley, his second team foul, number 3. Senators have been at 5 in the half. Side stack in front of the Senator bench. Parker to inbound. He'll give it up to Holden. He'll survey the floor and let everybody get set in the half court. Coming up on 2 minutes to play in the period. Parker far side, kicks it out to Harrison. Out top he goes on the left side to Holden. Back to Harrison. 2-man game of pitch and catch. Right back to Holden. Heat check. 3. Couldn't get it to go. Rebound fought for. Jenkins and Farmer both there, and it'll be last touch by Jenkins, who does not like the call, and decision from Jeff Jackson underneath. Jake Strange will check in here at the dead ball. Bobby Stevens has a seat. Senators rolling with Strange, Farmer, Green, Sanford, and Bausman. Will double stack again. Holden thought about 3, gives it up to Parker instead. Count it from the corner, and then we'll have a shove underneath. So Parker nails the 3 from the corner, give him 11 on the night. And then a foul underneath. It was Jenkins trying to clear space against Farmer. So that's a foul on the floor. Basket's good. That's like a dead ball foul. Senators will get it underneath. Chance for a 5 or 6 point possession here at least. Foul on Jenkins is his second. Team foul number 4, and underneath.
Right back to Green again. They'll give and go. Give it to Holden. Right back to Green on the inbounds.
Just like that, Parker with 5 straight points. And it makes it now a 39-30 ball game. Senators expand that lead once again off of 5 straight from Parker. And underneath we'll have a whistle and a foul on the help side. At way down below the block. 90 seconds to go in the third. Senators enjoying a 39-30 cushion. Going to be a high stack and ball side elbow, left side of the floor. Foul on Farmer, his second. Team foul 6 underneath. Jenkins finishes off the window for an easy 2. He's got 6 in the period, 8 in the ball game. Make it now 39-32. Holden works out front. against Jake Hartley. Gets it up to Harrison. Will take instruction from Coach Sullivan. Dip under 7 seconds to go here in the third. 39-32. Senators in front. Little double cut through the high post off the stag screen there. A little slip screen. Jake gets it from Parker. Crosses over out the top. Back to Parker, which against the right side. Goes off the dribble. Get anything. Stolen away. Turnover number 7 for the Senators. In transition. 2-on-1 break. They leave it off underneath. And Hatton. Senator fans wanted to travel. Did not get it on a whistle on a foul on the first. Down number 7 coming up here. And now the bonus. Yep. Cougar in the bonus after Senators. The whole first just fouls did not allow the Cougars to shoot a single free throw. Herb will get a quick breather to the quarter. Bobby Steve's back in. Jake will check out as well. Abel's back in. We'll also see for the Cougars, Jenkins check out. And 6'7" freshman Ethan Oakley back in. Hatton to the free throw line. This is the friend of the bonus. He's 0 for 2 on the night. No harm, no foul there. 39-32.
Run and jump 1-2-2 or just man to man. They've been mixing it up pretty well in the second or quarter.
Once we come down, 25 seconds to play here in the quarter. The three-man weave out top. Abels into the high post. Circles back out, working against 6'7" Oakley, who cannot keep up with Abels' speed. Front right side. There he is right back. And Coach going to burn a T. Smith-like timeout to try to get a good possession at the end of the quarter.
I'm not even sure where Tubby is anymore. Where's he at?
Well, after Memphis, I think he went. No,
He's back on the farm, but I thought he was coaching again. But
he may have jumped in.
Down in the Sun Belt.
Let me Google this during a timeout here.
I'm sorry.
11.7 to go. He was
I always liked Tubby.
He's notorious for that at Kentucky, calling a timeout, coming down to the end of the half, especially in the first half. They got possession. They'd let it come to about 10 or so, and he burned a timeout to get a set. So
that's quite the opposite of Tom Crean because he held on to his timeouts like they were guys.
I was just always concerned he was going to try to draw something up for Sol Smith, and I was just that It takes for business assignments at Assembly Hall for the Hoosiers tonight. Big Ten pay. The Hoosiers now in the single bus now 6 losses. People's going to start screaming, Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou, Romeo?
Well, yeah, I haven't watched the last couple games a lot, the entire games, but it looks like both him and Morgan are both just fatigued, I think. You can just tell they're a step behind where they were.
Little run and jump out of the timeout for Coach Sullivan. And then we have a near turnover, 6.7 on the clock. Coach Gibson, by the way, if you ever get bored, I know you've only watched them sparingly in the last couple of ball games. You get tired of Indiana's shenanigans. There's room in BB in for you.
Oh, boy.
In the corner, Abels 3 had it blocked at the quarter break, and that's the way we'll roll into the fourth. Senators clinging to a 39-32 advantage in what's turned out to be quite a low-scoring ball game between these two ball clubs who both average near 60 per contest. We'll roll into the fourth. Senators up 7. Step aside, take a break here from a sponsor, and we'll come back with that fourth quarter of regulation right after this word from Ace Hardware.
Temple & Temple has a long history of being a reliable contractor that provides a superior service. Established in 1948, two brothers, Walter Temple and Howard Temple, founded this company with a commitment to quality and a knack for doing that which others couldn't. After being in business for 70 years, Temple & Temple still holds true to the ideals of its founder, providing unique solutions to even the toughest problems. Temple & Temple has found there is no substitute for experience and a tradition of excellent work. Excavating, paving, concrete work, and bridge work are just a few of the categories the company has worked within over the years. No matter what the challenge, Temple & Temple will find the answer for your solution.
Chuck wanted us to know that Tubby is coaching back at his alma mater, High Point. So, still makes me
Nice.
nervous just to even hear his name. I know he brought a title, Big Blue Nation, and the Lakers certainly avid Big Blue fans as well as myself. But even they can agree that there were times where people were biting their nails off. Tubby and Saul Smith. As the ball's like that out of bounds, Senators start with the rock to begin the fourth. So we'll give honorary honors to Chuck Walker, our
Nice,
first
yeah.
unofficial trivia winner.
High Point is located.
Oh, Chuck, bonus points. Bonus points. If you can get this one, he's going to start doing on its own.
What's that little app? You can use your phone, or
I
does it
guess.
just
Hey, this is for Tony and Ryan on the morning trivia. Why not?
That's true.
Underneath.
Nice take, Harrison.
Fourth quarter, 40-32, back to a 9-point advantage. Bobby trying to fight the double here. As Gutnick's into the ballgame. He played really consideringly tonight. Got a start. Marcus Jones hasn't played much. He was pretty great with
Farm
Gutnick.
doing a nice job being physical with that.
Stack. Nobody home. And it Harley was able to knock it down. The second field knocked him 6 in the ballgame. Second half, 41-35. We dip under 7 minutes late.
Answer points with points here in the fourth.
He's within the corner, has 3 blocked at the end of the third from that far right corner. Carter tries it from the same spot. That was no good. And Oakley, big fresh, pulls it down in transition. Hadn't thought about a stop and pop. And it'll be a blocking foul on Farmer trying to stop the dribble drive. A big frame, 6'9" LT.
That might be a decent foul because the line was totally open. He might have flushed that one.
So Farmer's going to pick up the team's 8th of the half, his third. That's with Farmer and Stevens check out. Strange back into the lineup here with Holden, Parker, Pearson, and Abel. 6:05 to play in regulation. 41-35 Senators have led the entire way, not even a tie. Coach Burke ready to bust
I
a
agree
over
with him
here.
on that one. That was definitely push.
And Harrison and Oakley now get a little tangled up. Ball off the hands of the Senators. Stay underneath. And Coach Sullivan and Coach Marsh trying to clout shooters. This is the 3 offensive rebound. Back up, no good. Jenkins and the Senators finally control the board for a couple attempts there. It's cleared off to Holden, and he now walk it up. And we'll have a travel out front on Holden. And now a turnover number 8. Ooh. Coach Jenks heating up.
Okay, we need a restart here. This is a real glitchy start to the fourth quarter here.
Nearly 2 minutes gone by. 3 ball for Gutnick. Off a little slip out front. Able to free himself up. He's got his first point to the night. They are timely ones at that. He makes it 41-38. With it, circles out. Double goes to Jaquil spin against Hatton as Hatton brings the arm down. He didn't agree with the call, but he certainly brought the forearm down across Jake's arm. And for Hatton, it'll be his second team foul, number 5. 5:49 to go, and Jake Strange back line 3-4 on the night. Still waiting on Chuck's response here about High Point. Gina gets the text as Jake is up dry. Scoreless in the half is the dog.
Talk
Had
about
7
free
in the
throw
first half.
woes again. It's a small sample size. We're just 4-8.
Bad time for start rearing its ugly head back. Senators on the year just a 64% free throw shooting team with Harrison at 63%. His second one is up and good. So he's got his first one in the half, giving him 8 total, 42-38.
North Harrison just 2 of 9. So cold shooting from the free throw line tonight.
Wetzel gives it up in the corner. They feed down low. Jenkins with the fadeaway jumper in the paint. The 10-footer will go. Soft touch for the big man. As the junior forward will go to the free throw line. Another chance for an and one opportunity. Could not connect on the free throw to finish it out in the third quarter. Make it now 4-2 40. The string's really starting to tighten here on the Senators. And Jenkins rattles that one home. So this is the closest that the Cougars have been off of the and one for Jenkins at the 5:38 mark here of this fourth quarter. 42-41. Jenkins having himself a nice ball game. He's into double figures with 11 himself. Underneath, Farmer spin, nowhere to go. Tries to turn around jumper, not the offensive option we were looking for there. Had a shot blocked, and in transition, Wetzel screams at cross court. Now they'll feed down on the block. There'll be a whistle and a fat Jeff Jackson. Quick draw McGraw on that whistle. That one loaded in the holster. And they got it immediately. Harrison Sanford with the bump, and he'll pick his second team foul number 10. So double bonus rest on the way for the Cougs. Langdon Hatton back to the line. 0-2 on the night.
North Harrison still just with 5 fouls, so they can start hitting some of these free throws. It's definitely an advantage.
That one run around 3 times and back out. So at best, can tie it first time since it was all zeros. Second free throw attempt upcoming. And Hatton can't get either one of them. And Oakley goes over the back of Harrison Sanford, who actually drove him out with his backside. Textbook block out. Oakley, though, goes over him, knocks him to the floor, but Oakley whistled for being out of bounds. So a turnover for the Cougars. Their 10th. Run and jump in the half court here by Wetzel and Gutnick as Green gets it back to Bowden and Holden into the paint. Kicks on the left side to Abels, who gets it back now from Harrison. Mid-post, Farmer out to Holden to 3 in the corner for Parker. And this one last touch by Harrison underneath. 42-41. Senators dry again and got to dig their heels in on the defensive
So
side.
Hatton 0 for 3 from the line?
0 for 3.
This,
no, 0 for 4. I'm sorry. 0 for 2 in this quarter. Had a couple of, had an and one opportunity in the front end of the bonus at the end of the quarter as Hatton underneath finishes off the window for 2 more. He now has 18, one away from his season average, and North Harrison claims their first lead of the night at 43-42. Could we have back-to-back overtime games here tonight and back-to-back overtime games for the varsity? They've had 3 this year already. Foul out front. This one will go on Eli Gutnick. He'll be his second team foul, number 6. Senators one away from being in the bonus. Gutnick will have a seat. Jake Harley with quick feet back in. 4:28 to go on regular Harrison. Their first lead of the night. Just 5 minutes to go, and underneath, nice, but way off guard. Floating late, wouldn't go off the window for Sanford, who looks a little gassed, and Jake Strange will check next dead ball.
We got to get the stop. This right now, everything, all momentum, this Cougar land.
Momentum shifting, and you got 3 senior guards, a couple of them on the floor right now. They're rocking value possessions sure down the stretch. As Coach Kevin Jones will actually burn a timeout with 3:58 to play. It'll be a 30-second timeout. So he'll have 3 left with 2 full timeouts. 3:58 to go. Coach, you're right. Going to have to get some defensive stops here.
Yeah, that's what we got to do a better job on the ball as well. Again, second half, it's pretty close through halftime, 11-10. Their advantage, they had 4 offensive boards to our 0 last quarter. Starting out that way again in the quarter. They have 6 rebounds to our 1 in this quarter, 3 of them offensive. So they are starting to dominate on the boards. So we got to not only got to get stopped, but we got to make sure we leave them just 1 shot and they don't get those putbacks.
Chuck and Gina Walker leaving us hanging on the back end of the
I'm going to say Wisconsin.
Double
I don't know if that's true, but for some reason.
High Point's member actually of the Big South.
Oh, then Wisconsin is not a very good guess.
So High Point's actually located in High Point, North Carolina. They first at 4th in the South. Smith's on water. 3:52 and counting, 4th quarter of timeout. Coach Kevin Jones and the Cougars operating with their first lead of the night at 43-42. Hadn't even had a tie. It's been a nice second half put together by the Cougars as a poke away from behind leads to a steal for the Senators. We'll give credit to Harrison on that poke away into the hands of Abels. Tries to turn the corner, and he'll be ridden out of bounds by the knee of Skylar Wetzel, trying to keep up with his speed. This will be team foul number 7, so the Senators will be in the bonus.
Abel's one for 2 on the night.
Wetzel picks up his first. Again, team foul 7, so both teams in the bonus. North Harrison already in the double bonus. Jenkins out there with Oakley and Hatton, the big three, 6'5", 6'7", 6'9", stair step in the post. And on the front end of the bonus, Abel comes up drawing now 1 of 3 on the night. Chance to tie or even give the Senators back the lead on that possession. Can't do it. North Harrison settles into the half court, still working with that 1-point advantage at 43-42. Parker tries to pick up the 6'7" freshman Oakley. Picks him up out top, being physical with him. Forces him to give it up to Jenkins. Now around the horn it goes left side on the wing to Wetzel. He'll dribble out of trouble against Bousman. Back to Harley. They start to work and chew on some clock under 3 minutes to go. 3 full timeouts for the Cougars, 2 full timeouts for Coach Sullivan and company. Oakley has it out top. Try to get Hatton underneath against Stanford. Can't get to him on that trip. Jake working underneath against the junior, Jenkins, and they'll try to feed to Hatton and a steal, or near steal. Jake to the floor. Ball ramp. Harrison saves possession. They're going to get Parker. Oh, my God. Oh, Mr. Miller. I'm going to throw some business. Division first. And to Olivia Walker, Aaron Miller may need to go get the contacts checked this week. 2:33 to go. Parker whistled with a nickel dimer. His set team foul number 11. And to free throw line goes Hatton, where he is sort of mightily now 0-5 tonight. And his dad Steve up underneath the flag here on the east end, about ready to pull his hair out. Hatton finally gets one to go here.
2 for 5 as a team.
In the quarter, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
I just sure got him.
The other make.
Yeah.
25 and count. 42. 44. 2-point whistle. Foul out front. 2 teams foul 8. And foul's going to go against Wetzel. So back fast for the senior guard. And that'll send Ace back to the line. Chance to tie or at least draw within 1. And that one rolls home. So be rewarded with another free throw attempt.
Get it tied so they can. They weren't going to shoot unless they got a layup, basically. Hatton layup.
Was able to knock them down on this trip. So we have our first, which will tie the night at 4 with 2:18 and counting. And Hatton has it out top.
Who can come up with the most defensive stops here in the last 2:09?
Could it be overtime? Again, of the last 10 meetings, we've seen a double overtime, a 4 overtime game, and 7 of the last 10 have ended in games that's been 10 points or less. And then
oh my Lord, that guy took hold in 10 feet.
if you're watching the video, you saw it for yourself, but if you didn't, Holden just took a forearm to the gut, got chucked about 4 feet off the ball. Wetzel cleared space with the old forearm shiver. This will be Holden's second personal, team foul number 12.
That was awful.
Glad you said it, so I didn't have to. Wetzel hit the first, second one's off the mark, no good. So a 45-44 advantage.
Oh my, okay.
By the way, Logan Walker chimes in a little late with the response North Carolina, so he will not win the back end of the door prize. Yeah, we're not going to spot Logan. Logan wins everything like this, trivia-wise. A nice drive and a little payback there. Gerald Scott blew this one down here.
Yeah.
I mean, blew it. Comes back and gives one back as Wetzel will be whistling.
Wasn't a whole lot of contact. I'll be honest, there wasn't a whole lot of contact there. That was a makeup.
So now that'll send Parker back.
Free throws.
He's only attempted one night and now off the mark. So Parker, very uncharacteristic, struggling here. 0 of 2 on night, but 1 more though. This team found a 9, by the way, on the Cougars, and for what's his third. Second free throw is up, and that one's short. Wetzel with forward for 5 before. So cannot capitalize
games,
line.
the free throws. No, they haven't shot well, but you take advantage of that, and we aren't.
Front. It'll be a full timeout for Coach Jones. That's what he's got left. So a full time on the floor with a buck 25 go. Can the Cougars hang on after taking late lead? Their first of them, they lead at 45-44. We will come back. More quarter action right after the word from American Senior here.
Lynx Clothing and Shoes carries a wide variety of items from name brand clothing and shoes to sports apparel and sporting goods. We offer custom screen printing and embroidery, free gift wrapping, alternations, and layaway. Our hours are Monday through Thursday, 9 to 5:30, Friday, 9 to 6, and Saturday, 9 to 5. We are conveniently located on the north side of the Salem Square. We are a family-owned and operated business. Stop by and see us today. 812-883-4154.
And I said no, more like atrocious. I don't know if there's a word to describe how bad the last one was. That missed offensive foul as Wetzel with the forearm in Holden's gut. And Holden was looking for it. He was looking for the contact to try to pick up the foul. And actually, Miller, I believe, was back behind the play, and I thought he blew the whistle as well and was going to call it. But Scott beat him to it. Minute 22 and counting. As the Senators man it up here, see if they can force a turnover. Wetzel and the double team, a little run and jump for the Senators. Jenkins comes out to secure it. 70 seconds and counting. They have to come out and play this thing smart here. We come down to free throws, and North Harrison's not been very good with free throws as well. And a bump and a foul out front. This one will be on Sanford. This will be team foul number 13. And for Harrison, this will be his third personal. We will see Ben Davis check back in, a 6'1 senior. Jake Harley to the free throw line, a 72% free throw shooter, just 1 of 2 on the night. He has 6. And the first one's up and good. Make it now 46-44. Still can just be a one-possession ball game. Gutnick out. And into the ball game comes Davis. So they'll trade senior for senior. Second free throw on the way, a little flatter, and that one rattles home. Gets a little help off the back iron. So 8 now.
47 under a minute.
47, 44, 55 seconds counting. Holding it. Needed and one here. 3-point. Underneath, a bump and a whistle. But Scott wait that one on the baseline, and his little stepped over, try to cut him off. Wetzel puts up his fourth. Team foul number 2. Both teams double bump. Strange to the line, 1 or 2 in this quarter. He's attempted 6 on the night. Down 4 of those 6. 47.9. That one is up and good.
That's a turnover situation. Looking, always
Eight.
that's
Eight for us, 3 of them is half, and 10 for the Cougars, 4 in the half. So it's really not been an issue much
about
for
that.
either ball
Anything
club.
under double digits in high school was pretty decent.
Jake hits the first one on the second. Now 47-45. Now you're going to have to over stop or miss the free line. You don't want this thing to come a set game. And that's what happened if they give the foul. He's able to knock both of them down and hold nearly put the steal. Miller with the whistle out front.
Oh, my Lord. I thought that was a steal.
He picks up his second consideration about coming.
I just my quarterback there, and Holden thought the clean steal.
They actually put Abels with it though, and had to score behind before the whistle. 32.9, Harley back to the free throw line, not the guy you foul. He's down the first. Now 4-5 on the night. 30.9, 48-45.
Somebody got to knock that triple.
And that one falls through, so
Again, that's
I have to go quick here.
you got to go quick, and you got to basically knock down the triple.
49, 45, 25 seconds It's Shane Holden, heat deck 3, he can get it to go, rebound, 5-4, tipped around, Sanford with it, tries to feed underneath, and a near steal is Jake Harley poked it away. We'll see a substitution. Logan McIntyre come to scores. Now he'll set back down, wave off the substitution box set the Senators. See if they're able to get it to Parker. They go to Holden. Holden will screen out now for Parker. They get it to him. And he worked out front. Holden will get bumped out front. It's going to go on Jake Harley, and I believe his 13 foul, number 11. Substitution. Now we'll see the freshman McIntyre gets in and check in with Nick. Farmer will check in for defense. Holden to the free throw line. 63% on the year. 2 of 67 and misses that one.
This coach free throws. They're like 6-16 or actually 8 of 18. I would say, I haven't told them that, but I bet we're on 50% now.
Second one in and out, no good. Underneath the steal, Parker misses off the backboard, rebound fought for. Now there was Jenkins with it. Jenkins then doubled up. They'll throw it long. Nobody back. McIntyre will hold it. Time will expire in this one. Going to end heartbreak again. The Senators led until the 5-minute mark